My name's Diane. You're currently watching the Just Kidding Around show. Thank you so much for joining us. Each week, we introduce our home audience to different crafts and hobbies for the entire family. And this week, we're excited to introduce you to actually a pet and a person, not just the pet. And we're welcoming for the first time Belle. Hi, Belle.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us. Have you ever been on television before?
I have not.
Okay, but you have a lot of experience on plays.
Yeah.
And right. She's lead in a lot of plays, so if you recognize her, it could be from theater. Anyway, before we get started, we look in the camera. Right now, we're on camera 1, and we're going to look in that camera and give a shout out to somebody. Is there somebody you'd like to say hello to?
So I'd like to shout out to my best friend Ayla, and she's been helping me for like a year now, and she's awesome. And also my parents and my brothers, because they're amazing. So
You're so lucky. I'm so happy to hear you say that. So many people don't say nice things about their siblings. And I'm going to give a shout out to all the students at South Bay, and especially my library helpers today. Yeah, Belle's one of my library helpers. So is Ayla. So with that, I want to start by asking you if you have had any other pets other than Bettas.
So I've had several cats over the years, and they have all been awesome, but mostly fish for the past 3 years now.
Okay. And what made you decide on a betta rather than a different fish?
Well, the bettas actually really caught my eye, and bettas stay a lot smaller than regular fish because, well, they're bettas, so
Okay.
yeah.
And there was a term you used before the show. Do you remember what that was about kind of user-friendly?
Oh,
But
yeah.
what did you say?
So you don't really need that much experience to care for them. Like, you can honestly, personally, I was about, I think, 7 when I got my first one, and I kept it alive for about a year, and it was awesome.
Okay. So you think that bettas are easier, or are you saying fish are easier than cats?
Fish are probably easier than, well, I'd say cats, dogs, any pet that kind of requires more.
Okay, so if our home viewers have a child and the child wants a pet, why did you decide on a betta? Was it your parents or did you decide?
Well, I kind of asked my parents if I could get another pet because I was lonely and I didn't have any animals, and they recommended a fish, so.
And then you decided on a betta?
Yeah.
Okay, so we keep using this term betta. What is a betta? What makes it what it is?
So a betta is a tropical fish that usually lives in Thailand or Vietnam, and they live in storm drains and rice paddies and actually small lakes and rivers, so yeah.
Okay, so they're from actually Thailand and what did you say, was it Vietnam you said? Those are, I think of them as being very hot places. So is this a fish that needs a hot environment? What temperature does it need to survive?
I'd say about 75 to 85 degrees.
About 75 to 85?
Yeah.
So you need to have a heater?
I'd say a heater if you live in a very cold place, but I don't actually have a heater for my fish, and they've been doing fine. So,
Okay, they survived for many years, you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, I got to tell you something. I used to own quite a few bettas, and we disagree on something, and that'll come up later in the show what we disagree about. But I didn't have heaters on mine, and then unfortunately the power went out, and I was just sick about it. I lost my bettas, but I lost other things too. I lost my big, huge silver dollars that were in there was just no electricity. And didn't you tell me that at one time you did have a heater in one of your betta tanks?
So I had like a tiny heater that was about that big, and it just came with the tank, so it wasn't like high tech or anything. I actually cut it out of the tank because I didn't like it.
Oh,
so, yeah.
I see. But I thought you said it wasn't electric. Is that right?
No. So you can get non-electric heaters, I'm pretty sure, but yeah, I didn't have one.
Okay. So, but you're telling, let me recap. You're saying if you keep them at room temperature, as long as they're, around 70s, they're going to survive.
Yeah, so it's been kind of cold for several days, so I've actually been checking my fish water and checking if it's if I can feel that it's cold or if they're acting differently, then you know that you should probably add a little bit of hot water.
How do you know if your fish is happy?
So usually if they're happy, they'll have some, bubbles on the top of their tank. And usually in the wild, they use those for breeding. And the males make those, and the females lay their eggs in them. So.
Oh,
yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I never knew that. I know that if they're happy, there's somebody on the screen. Where is he? Should you move the tank? Where'd he? Oh, there he is. He's on the side. There she is. That's a little girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's swimming. She's camera shy.
Yeah.
That's Klein. Is that how you say her name?
Klein, which
Klein.
means small in German. So yeah.
She's small. So she's kind of sassy right now. Now, is this Klein's normal tank?
This is not. So she actually lives in a 10-gallon tank with one of my other fish, which actually died recently.
Oh.
So she's been alone for a little while. That's why I'm keeping her in a bigger tank than one of the small containers.
Okay. So you said something about a beta living with another fish. That's kind of unusual because when you see them in stores, they're always in these little tiny containers and they're always alone.
Yeah, so that's actually that I always thought that betas would fight badly. But then I actually looked it up, and you can keep 2 females in the same tank, but you should probably have about 2 gallons for each fish. So I bought a 10-gallon tank, and it helped.
Okay. So Klein, am I saying it right? Klein? Klein, I'm so sorry. So Klein lived with another female.
Yes.
What would happen if you put 2 males together?
They would probably kill each other because they are very, very territorial fish, and they really don't like it when someone is either coming too close to them or, even if I stuck my finger in the tank, they would literally come up and try to bite it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Wow. So how big, when we buy them, they're in these little tiny containers.
Yeah.
I had heard that they lived in rice paddies and that they were supposed to. So I always kept my betas, and I had one for 3 years. I mean, before the power went out, I probably could have kept them much longer. But I used to have a bowl. I think it had maybe half a gallon of water. So because I've been told that they live in their natural habitat are rice paddies, so they're used to living in these small little areas. Mm-hmm. So what do you say about that?
So that is actually a myth that, so it's true that they live in rice paddies, but the bigger the tank, I mean, you shouldn't have them in too big, but I'd say that 1 gallon to 1.5 gallons would probably be big enough for a fish.
Okay. So, and then what about the water? Do you need special water for this fish?
Actually, I just use water from my tap, and it works perfectly. So,
Do you have well water or something?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you don't have chlorine in it. Oh, that's why then.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, I never did that. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So, since you don't have chlorine in your water, it's okay. But if you have chlorinated water, maybe they should buy conditioners at various pet stores or things. And so we know about how much water. We know about the temperature of the water. What about the food?
All right, so food you can pretty much buy at any pet store. And so I actually have some with me at the moment. Mine I just bought from a pet store near me. And so the pellets are usually really small, and you should probably get the one that actually says beta food, because if it's too large, then they will actually get constipated, and that can actually kill them. So yeah.
Seriously, I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
Did you read that? Or?
No, I actually had one die of that, and I think I read it. So yeah.
Oh my goodness, I've never heard of that. That they
Yeah.
suffer from constipation. My goodness. And one of those containers can last a long time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So you said that the females, you can have 2 females together.
Yep.
What about taking a beta and put it in a fish with eclectic or a variety of
Yeah.
fish? Will that work?
Good question. So they can usually, like I said, they can survive with 2 females, but you should keep them in big tanks. And they can survive with tetras, actually.
Oh, really?
And I was actually thinking of buying some for Clayne because she's lonely now.
Oh, how beautiful that would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be beautiful. I love the colors of betas. There are just so many beautiful colors. I especially favor the red ones.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a favorite color?
I actually kind of go towards blue because teal is my personal favorite color. And so I kind of favor blue, but when I'm buying them, I usually don't go more towards the colors. I kind of go toward the health and the gender. So, yeah.
So, what do you mean gender? So you prefer the females or the males?
I prefer females because you can keep them in the same tank, and also they, as you can see, Rosie is actually fighting with Oliver.
Oh, there. Look how sassy Oliver is.
Yes.
And Oliver's a male, right?
Yes.
There you go. So
So-
you don't want those 2 together
Oh,
in the
no.
same tank.
No way.
No. But Rosie's a little girl?
Yes,
Well,
she
then why
is.
doesn't Rosie live with Clayne?
She did, but then I figured out that Clayne was actually getting beaten up by her.
Oh, okay.
And she was getting actually really badly scraped up, and she was starting to lose some of her scales, so I had to change that
So
immediately.
you separated. Boy, I'll tell you, that Oliver is full of sass. But that also means he's healthy, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he looks very healthy. Now, there was a chart that we had, and that chart showed there's different types of betas. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? What is Oliver? What type is he?
So Oliver, like Clayne, he's a veil tail, but he's
Veil?
a veil tail.
Oh, veil
So,
tail. I didn't know that second word.
So he has, as you can see, like a longer tail than the females, which is actually how you can see if they're females or males. As you can see, so Clayne, like we saw before,
Yeah.
she has a really short tail.
Right.
And she's still a veil tail because.
Oh, Clayne's a
yeah.
veil tail. Oh, I'm surprised. But it's
Yeah.
because she's a female. So the females are short. Are they shorter and smaller too?
They are. So as you can see right now, so Rosie is not a veil tail. She's actually a crown tail. So
But she's a female fantail.
yeah. So her tail is like she has 3 parts, and so they all are kind of stretched. And so you can kind of tell that she's a little bit smaller and wider than.
Oh, do they have a thicker
Him?
body?
Yeah, they definitely
Oh,
do.
that makes sense because birds are that way too. A lot of animals that lay eggs, the females have a thicker body.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So, by the way, if you just tuned in, we're talking about beta fish, and Belle does not suggest these little tiny containers. She suggests at least 1.5 gallons of water per fish. And you buy them oftentimes in these little containers. You just have them in these containers today for travel purposes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So please don't call the studio and say we're abusing fish.
Oh, no. Yeah, so I keep my fish, this is, well, I actually have one with me. This one is actually a 1 gallon. So I keep usually Oliver in this one since he's a male. And I keep Rosie in about a half gallon, I'd say, but I wouldn't really suggest that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just because she's a bully, so yeah.
All right. Well, fun pet. easy to take care of. What do you do if you travel with them?
I don't travel very much with them.
No, not travel with them. I meant, if I said that wrong. If you leave town, is it hard to find a babysitter for these guys?
Oh, so that's actually a really good question. So I actually have relatives who come over and watch them, but
Okay.
if you don't have any living nearby, then usually they can last for like, I'd say like a week and a half without
Really?
food.
Without food?
Yeah, they can last for a while.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, but try not to.
Okay. And you said something before the camera started rolling. We were talking about how often to clean the tanks. And what did you say about the algae on the tank? You had something to say about that?
Yeah, so usually you should keep at least like, you should clean it 2 times a week about, because they need a little bit of algae outside the tank just in case like you forget to feed them or they haven't had enough food. So yeah.
And what is this business about? Oh, there's Klein again. Oh, she's showing off.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm sure it's an optical illusion, but it looks like she disappears.
Yeah, the side of the tank's right there. So.
Is that what it is? Okay. So, there is something called a, I want to say mothball, but it's a moss ball. Is that correct?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So moss balls you can actually put in the tanks and they help filter the water, which is actually kind of interesting. And they also release some oxygen into the water, so it's easier for the fish to breathe and kind of use their gills more, so yeah.
You were the first one, and they're on this, I think Waldo has a copy of this, took a picture of it. But I had never heard of them until you mentioned them.
Yeah.
And do all fish need these things? I can't get those. The little, is that a fantail? That red one? What is that one in the middle?
So it's actually, I'm pretty sure that is a, I think that might be a half moon, but
Is that a half moon?
I'm not entirely sure. So,
Okay,
yeah.
but the one by the moss balls, they put oxygen in the water?
Yeah.
And do all fish need those or just bettas?
I'd say that all fish might need them because it's helpful, but honestly, I have never had them. I've never had experience with them.
Oh, okay.
But I'm pretty sure they help, so yeah.
But that's a natural plant? I mean,
I don't
it grows
really-
somewhere out there and is harvested? Okay, so, and what is that blue one, the very first one? What, is that the blade?
That is a spade tail.
Oh, spade, that's
so
what that's called.
you can
yeah.
kind of tell with its tail actually looks like a spade, like in cards. So as you can see, also its gills are actually flaring up,
Okay.
and that means that it's being aggressive, or it's angry, or it's just really stressed out.
Okay. So the one next to it is a, what is that again, did you say?
That is a crown tail male. So
A crown tail
you can
male.
tell because its tail is really like, I think it looks like fingers kind of like spread out.
Yeah, it's more fingers. So what's your red one again?
Mine is a veil tail.
That's the veil tail.
Yeah.
And what is this gorgeous thing down there? The one that's blue and yellow.
That is, I think that might be a veil tail as well. So,
Kind of shaped like it, but it's two-toned.
yeah. So you can actually get them like that, and they're just colored like that. So actually, the color depends on where they live sometimes. So if they live in a shadier place, usually their color will be like darker or
You're kidding.
deeper toned.
How come you know all this stuff? And I didn't know all this.
Books, yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask this too. We don't really have that much more time, but I want to ask you this. There are probably people watching. I really think that some people believe that bettas are abused because, first of all, they're sold in these little tiny containers. They're from Vietnam, you said, or
Yes.
Thailand primarily. Are we taking them out of their natural environment?
So some are actually bred to live just in captivity, but you can actually buy some that you have to buy special plants and like special water stuff to just make sure that they are safe, because they're pretty like hard to find. So,
Okay,
yeah.
but chances are the fish you have here were never lived in Thailand. They were bred in captivity.
Yeah.
So that. And I thought that was interesting too that you said, I always knew that my fish were healthy. I only bought males. I always knew they were healthy if they or happy if they were blowing bubbles, and they'd always have a lot of bubbles on the top.
Yeah.
But I never thought of the purpose of that. And the females actually lay the eggs inside those bubbles.
Yes, they do.
So that's why the males are doing
So
that.
the interesting thing is the males will actually build those, and then the females will come, and if they don't like them, they will literally just destroy them with their tails.
The females will?
Yeah.
Oh, forget you, buddy.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, but the thing is, if they like them, then the male will come up and he'll circle around her, and she'll release eggs into the water,
Oh my goodness.
and they'll fall, and the male will like put them in the bubble nest, and then he will take care of them for
Oh,
the
come
rest of their
on.
lives.
And for Father's Day, what a funny thing. Wow. Wait, I've got to do more research. Are there on YouTube, are there videos of that kind of process happening?
I think so, probably, but they're kind of hard to capture sometimes because they're secretive sometimes when they do it.
Oh,
So, yeah.
I see. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us. This has been quite interesting, and
Yeah.
I've been afraid of owning fish ever since my power went out. But I'm starting to think I might check into some kind of a heater
Yeah.
that so that if I do lose power, then I can put it on the tank.
Yeah, you could do that, or just like keep a hot water bottle nearby so that you could just in case.
Yeah, that would be an idea too. So, well, thank you again for joining us, and enjoy your fish. How many do you own?
I own 3 currently, but yeah, they're awesome.
But how many have you owned altogether?
Oh, so do you mean like at a time or like
No, altogether.
Oh goodness, probably I'd say like 20 or
Oh my
something
goodness,
like
you've
that.
had that many.
Yeah, I've had lots.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I saw one the other day in a store that was clear that all of a sudden I thought, wow, I've always loved the red ones.
Yeah.
And so, but I will be sure to not have it in a little tiny.
Yeah, and
I
also
will buy an aquarium to put it in. Oh, before we sign off, we need to sign up. But what about plants? Do they need a lot of plants?
so probably you could use like, they have actually some at pet stores, and if you put them in the water, they will also help filter it, and the fish can actually hide in them, and it's helpful.
Yeah, so they don't eat the plants. They kind of hide in the plant. Okay.
Yeah.
So we definitely have to sign off.
Yeah.
So I want to thank our viewers for watching us. We are on every Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday night, and you can find us on YouTube. Thank you, Belle, for joining us. I hope you can come back again sometime.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. You did a wonderful job. Bye.